How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to compare some Fuji film simulation recipes against actual film photos. So let's jump right into it. A big selling point in a lot of marketing nowadays is the nostalgia feeling of things. For example, it can be the remakes of movies, the remakes of old games that become better quality with the HD versions of them, with the remastering and everything like that. Just the same way with film simulations and film photography right now. Film photography has become a lot more popular recently. I've covered it a couple times here on the channel, and I think it's something that's become very popular recently just because of that nostalgia feeling and that retro look because of it. One of the things with film is that you just get a cool, unique look, and it's something that people are really chasing after, even with their edits, because it's really just a minimal editing thing when it comes down to film photos. They look pretty great straight out of camera. It doesn't really have to do much of post-processing when it comes down to those photos. Now, one drawback about shooting film for me is having to get those photos developed, which can take quite a bit of a long process to get them back, and also can get expensive after a while as well. So despite loving to shoot film, I honestly don't do it as often as I want to because of how long it takes to get the photos processed and everything like that. So that's why I got this Fujifilm camera. Now, I got a Fujifilm basically simulation recipe within the camera so that it looks like a Portra 400 that I found online from a couple people that they've been kind of circling around, and they all came back to the same one. So I decided to put it to test against my Pentax camera and then also against a Kodak, basically just one-use camera. So with this film simulation recipe within the Fuji camera, it's supposed to basically simulate a Portra 400, so that's what I'm going to test out today. So now my Pentax camera has Fujifilm film. The ISO is at 200. That's just the one that I had laying around, so I wanted to kind of just use that one. I think the Kodak has ISO 800, I think is what it says. So that's something that, well, we're just going to have to leave it at what it is, but I'm going to try to match my Fujifilm photo as much to the film camera and the settings. That way it can kind of correlate a little bit closer together and just see how they turn out and just have some fun with it. I mean, they're not going to be exactly the same because of different styles anyway, but I want to see how close it could come down to where I can just really just use my Fujifilm camera to simulate film and just not have to worry so much about using my film camera as often as possible. So we're just going to kind of set up the tripod, take the same photos as close as possible. They're different focal lengths anyway, so there might be some the differences that way, but just bear with me with that and just kind of focus more on the quality of the colors and everything like that when it comes onto the photos, and just have some fun with me today. So we got location 1 down. Now we're just gonna go find another location and take some photos and keep having some things happening, because we just gotta stay creative even though the weather's kind of gloomy out. But I like this kind of weather for just photography, so we'll see what we can get and keep creating. So we're at the second location here on this bridge that was nearby. We're just gonna take a photo of kind of like the docking station where people are just kind of putting their boats, might do the scenery still. Just kind of see what I can figure out. So let's get to it. And now that we're done with the bridge, we're gonna go find a couple more places just to take some photos and then be done with our day, since it's not the best weather to be outside and these cameras aren't weather sealed, so kind of want to do that. My Sony is, but not the other ones. And we got to the next location. Just gonna take a couple photos of these buildings behind me, just because I like them. They kind of look fine to just take a couple test photos, so we'll see. And on to the next spot. We're done here. And now we're gonna take a couple photos of these flowers right here. They look pretty nice, the color. So we're gonna see how the color looks. So I had to be really quick on this bird behind me that I took a photo of, just because I didn't want to miss a shot. But that's the last shot that I was able to take, guys. So that's basically all the photos that just wanted to take today with these film photographies and show the simulation comparison. So now I'm gonna wait until I get the photos back so I can talk more in depth about the comparison of the photos. So we'll just have to wait, and then we'll finish the video once we get them back. So you'll have the YouTube magic where it goes, and the photos are back. So wait until that part here shortly. And we finally got the scans back after this time. I used State Film Labs. So these are the first time I've ever used them. So I want to see how they turn out and just compare them with the Fuji film simulation to the Pentax, and then also the disposable camera. So we're gonna go straight to the computer, and I'll show you a little bit of all the photos combined, and then I'm gonna put them side by side so you can see the comparison. Keep in mind, obviously, they're different focal lengths, but I just wanted to see how good the colors would be for the Fujifilm simulation to those type of cameras, whether it's with the Fuji roll or if it's like those disposable cameras. Okay, so now here we have right now the Fujifilm simulation on the right, and then this is the scan of the Pentax. As you see, obviously, it's a little bit more, I guess, less dehaze over here, where this one has a little bit more vibrant colors and everything. So I'm curious to see, like, this is just straight out of the camera how it is, and this is how I received it with the scan. But I want to see if this one I could kind of just like bring a little bit of like the dehaze into it, and then kind of bring a little bit of the colors back to see if I need to, I guess, saturate it a little bit. Not really sure the process that they did at this I guess lab itself, but I mean, it's not horribly like out the bat in a sense like that. I'm gonna open this is basically the disposable camera. So I mean, they're a little bit closer to each other, obviously different focal lengths, but if I bring the Fujifilm simulation to it, it's fairly close in the sense, but the only difference is I know the greens are a lot greener over here than over here. It could be the white balance, not really sure, I guess, but that's just something curious that I wanted to see. So we're gonna move on to the next one. This is gonna be the Fujifilm. You have the names up here in case you get lost, but so this is the disposable camera. Like you see, the greens are very, very green compared to over here. So I mean, it could be as well with adjusting the white balance and all that stuff over here, I guess. But I'm just not really gonna mess with it right now. Just kind of wanted to compare them out, like straight out of the camera, to see what would happen. But that's just basically what I wanted to see with just the simulation itself with the cameras and how they would do it, because this is the Pentax to the disposable camera. I mean, the colors on this one isn't like as vibrant, I guess, as the green over here that I can see. Like if I zoom in right here and zoom in right there, I mean, obviously there's scans, but let's see if I put the Fujifilm simulation. It's a little bit closer to the Pentax on this one. I'm sure if I like adjusted everything in a bit, I mean, I might do that in a second just to see if I can get them as close as possible to each other. But my main focus was just trying to see how they look straight out of the camera. So we're gonna move on to a different one that I took. It's this is the shot itself, and we got the, what's it called? This is the Pentax shot. So this one's a little bit more kind of like softer. I did have a black pro mist filter on it, so that could be another reasoning. So I mean, I could just kind of try to bring it as kind of back with just like the adding like a lot of dehaze just for quick edit, nothing too crazy. But even then, I mean, the colors are fairly similar. I mean, it's just a little bit of like different kind of like tint, in my opinion, more on the greenish side on the Pentax. So I wonder if like I start adding a little bit of green, how it would kind of play into it. So yeah, I mean, nothing too bad in a sense, but I'm just gonna reset it right now. Let's see what the disposable camera looked like. I know that apparently my thumb was in some of these, which oddly enough, I didn't think that I was gonna have my thumb in them, I guess, if that makes any sense, because yeah, I mean, it's a smaller camera, but I never saw it in the viewfinder when I was taking it. So it is what it is at this rate, but you can just see the color. So see like how the greens on this one, I mean, it was an ISO 800 on the disposable camera. So I guess that's a difference, but as well, I think, I mean, I guess it's like a Kodak disposable camera, so that could be another reason since it's not the Fuji. But just wanted to kind of compare them and just see what they look like side to side. So we're gonna move on to the next one, the flowers one, this one right here. So now we got the Pentax right here and the Fujifilm. So like I said, it's just a little bit softer on the Fuji, probably because of the Pro Mist. So if I start adding like a little bit of corrections and everything like that, I'm sure I can get it closer to it. But yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, not too bad. I mean, I could just probably like lower the highlights and the whites a little bit. Even like go over here to get the greens like luminance a little bit lowered. But not so bad for the Fujifilm simulation, in all honesty, for this. I mean, if I go with the disposable camera, I mean, it's looking like a disposable camera. The thumb, or not thumb, but the finger came through, I guess. But yeah, not bad for the colors right off the bat with that. I'm surprised, in all honesty, when it comes down to just the Fujifilm simulations. If you get the right recipe, it can look pretty similar. So if you wanted to see the recipe that I used, it's going to be in the description down below. So we got the little crane. So this is the Fujifilm one, and then we're going to go with this is a Pentax shot. So like I said, it's just more I guess softer because of the black Pro Mist, but it's pretty cool to see. I mean, the colors are relatively pretty stellar already off the bat from the Fujifilm recipe. So like if I kind of like switch it around so I can kind of edit it or whatever, once again, just kind of start bringing like stuff down, add a little bit of contrast, because it seems like it's very contrasting kind of style. I mean, it looks fairly similar now. Like, I mean, I can even go to 100% just to kind of keep it a little bit. I mean, yeah, it's pretty spot on right there with the colors, so that's actually pretty cool. Just adding a lot of contrast in reality. So that's interesting to see. So now if I have the disposable camera, the greens are a little bit different in this one, which, not that big of a deal. It is a different brand with a Kodak and all that stuff. So I was trying to simulate like a Portra 400 basically with the film recipe that I had. So it's pretty cool to see in a sense with what you can do with this photos. But yeah, that was the last one that I wanted to showcase. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what you can do with basically just a Fujifilm film recipes. Now I'm going to show you the photos side by side with a little bit of corrections just to make them as similar as possible, just to get an idea what you can do with these files as well. If you want to kind of correct them with minor things. I didn't really do much else, but kind of just match a little bit of the color and make sure just to get the same kind of contrast and everything. So here are the photos. And now that you've seen all of them, which one was your favorite? Did you like the simulation with the Fujifilm, or you wanted to keep more of that nostalgic kind of feeling with actual film photos? In all honesty, for me, I really liked all of them. The really cool thing about the Fujifilm camera is that I can make these film simulations and get them really close to what my actual film camera can do, which kind of makes me a little bit more inspired to go out and just shoot some photos with just my Fujifilm and not worry about if I'm going to get them developed soon enough or not, because it does take a little bit of a process, especially like with State Film Labs. I sent it out and it took a couple weeks because sadly, I mean, you're shipping it out and they're obviously with COVID-19 restrictions, they have so many people working for them as well, which I totally understand, but this will be kind of a little bit of a test to see how you like the scans from them, and if you ever want to use them, I'll leave it down below so you can check them out yourself. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.